Welcome back everyone, 𝘱𝘰𝘯𝘺 here. In today's video, we're going to be going over some Bitcoin news. We're also going to be going over some very exciting announcements with Celsius and very generous rates when it comes to taking out crypto-backed loans. Also going to be going over a very special way for you guys to actually minimize your tax obligations when it comes to investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies for the future. And then last but not least, we're going to be going over the price of Bitcoin, which has started slipping this morning, and we're going to see if there's any hope on the lower level time frame. So if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, my handle is 𝘱𝘰𝘯𝘺. I tweet a little bit about Bitcoin, but here are some tweets that I liked this morning that I thought were super interesting to share with you guys. So what I like about getting my news from Twitter is I can kind of curate it with a lot of like crypto information. So I use Twitter personally to just kind of stay up with the crypto news and what's currently happening. So Bentley University now accepts Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDC as a payment method for tuition. That is really cool, but what a terrible way to spend your cryptocurrency. If you guys been here for a while, you know how I feel about college. That is the last way that I would ever spend my cryptocurrency is on a college tuition. So we're in a period of time where we're kind of trying to better understand the economic scope, right? For the short term, for the long term, so that we can make the best decisions possible, whether it comes to investing in cryptocurrency, real estate, all of those things. So food bank demand soars again as inflation crushes the working poor. But another tweet that I saw earlier was about how there were 4.5 million people who quit their job in the month of March. That is the highest monthly number ever recorded. So once again, since COVID broke in March of 2020, things just really don't make sense. So people are quitting their jobs, but we're also seeing an increase when it comes to people needing necessities such as food. So this is also really interesting information. Bitcoin settled $13.1 trillion in payments last year, which is actually 20% more than Visa. That was reported by Bloomberg, which is super awesome. Another interesting thing to think about is it is 731 days left approximately until the next Bitcoin halving. So obviously, you know, the reward block gets decreased in half every 4 years. And what's important about this specifically is that typically we actually see the bull market correlate after a halving. So it's typically after a halving, Bitcoin becomes less accessible. The deflationary aspect comes into play. And typically after the last halving, then we see a huge increase in price, which we just saw with the previous halving. So before I go any further, can't forget to talk about iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital is a Bitcoin IRA, but you can also invest in other cryptocurrencies. So what's great about iTrust Capital is that you can buy and sell crypto 24/7, and any time that you sell within your iTrust Capital account, it is a non-taxable event, which makes it extremely unique. And there's also 25 other cryptocurrencies as well as gold and silver available on the platform. There are 0 monthly fees no matter how much you have in your iTrust Capital account. The only thing that you're going to be paying on is a 1% transaction fee, and that's if you're making any trades. So you can choose a traditional IRA, you can choose a Roth IRA, and it is a really great way to prepare for the future. So go ahead and check out my link below. When you get started with iTrust Capital, you will get $100 free in BTC, and you only need $1,000 to get started. So depending on your personal situation, you're gonna have a max annually between $6,000 and $7,000. And so this is a really great way for you to shelter part of your cryptocurrency investment and truly save on taxes in the long term. Anything that you buy within your iTrust Capital account now, depending on if you choose a traditional or a Roth IRA, you will not have to pay taxes when you turn 59 and a half. So a massive way to save for the future. So back over here to Twitter, Coinbase used Bitcoin as collateral to borrow cash from Goldman Sachs, which is awesome. And another thing I want to mention is that Craig Wright is, I believe, suing Coinbase for misrepresenting Bitcoin. If you don't know Craig Wright has claimed to be Satoshi, but most people don't believe that to be the actual case. it'd be really easy for him to prove that if he was basically able to say, hey, on this day and this time, I am transferring this amount of Bitcoin out of Satoshi's wallet, but he hasn't done anything like that. So it's still pretty skeptical if he is actually Satoshi or not. So, but for me, I don't really get caught up on who actually Satoshi is. I'm just grateful for Satoshi and that he provided Bitcoin to the world, because it has absolutely changed my life. So great news with Celsius. So there are 14 new assets available at 0.1% APR at a 25% LTV. So this is amazing, right? This is literally a tenth. Like, I thought 1% loan was amazing. A tenth of that is even better. There's 40 plus assets supported at a 33% LTV. So it is a great time if you are looking for a crypto-backed loan. Celsius is highly likely going to be your best option. People ask me all the time which lending platform is the best. When it comes to loans, Celsius is typically the winner. So if you want to check out Celsius, I have a link down below, and a very easy, quick way to earn $50 free in Bitcoin is if you deposit $400 and you leave it in there for 30 days, you will receive $50 in Bitcoin, and so will I. So if you want to check that out today, I have my link down below in the description. So that is exciting when it comes to Celsius. And also UST is now available on Celsius. I actually always thought that it was there until I looked at this email and realized they just put it on there. So let's go ahead and back up to Celsius and see what the current rate is on UST. So let's go over here to earn, and I'm gonna go ahead and search UST. So you can earn up to 15.87%, and that is if you are using Cell Rewards. If you're doing in-kind, it's 12.01, and this is probably going to range depending on if you're the platinum level or not. So let's now check the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now under $38,000. Hasn't gotten the best start to the day, sitting at $37,663. This right here is a 7-day chart on Bitcoin, which is obviously not looking too good. A lot would need to happen to change the weekly chart to appear bullish. So this right here is a daily chart, which is also looking pretty bad. I mentioned this in my last video. Things really are not looking good across the board when it comes to Bitcoin. At this point, it's like catching a falling knife. We are definitely, in my opinion, going to see a massive shakeout. I would say that 50% of people that are now in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency probably will not be around for the next bull run. That's just how it's going to happen. See, people think it's like really easy to make money in cryptocurrency, but the volatility is so high and most people can't handle it. So you're going to see a lot of people shaken out. This is the 12-hour chart here, which is completely bearish, no signs of a momentum shift. 4-hour chart, this red 2 trading below the red 1, not good. And I haven't even looked at traditional markets, but I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess that they're probably also down today as well. This right here is the hourly chart, also not looking that great, making a lower low. Is capitulation coming soon? I'm not sure. So there's two ways that this can happen. We could basically see a very slow grind down, or we might just see some very intense capitulation. But I personally believe at this time is that we're going to see a very slow grind down. And I think that's just because Bitcoin is going to correlate with traditional markets. So what's going to end up happening is that what makes, in my opinion, one of the most obvious ways to kind of know if we're in a recession is if people feel poor. So, I mean, most people that I know, right, they're feeling poor because their stocks aren't doing good, their cryptocurrency isn't doing very good. But for the average person that's not really involved in the day-to-day, it's like when their price value drops dramatically of their home, that's what makes people kind of feel poor, and then it changes their spending habits. So that's kind of like one way to look at it that I've kind of been trying to pay attention to. So 30-minute chart also not looking good at all on Bitcoin. Across the board, things are just not looking good. Not even the 5-minute chart is giving us some hope in this scenario. So Ethereum sitting at 27.76. We have gold at 18.68. We have here Filecoin at 14.45. DOT sitting at 14.69. Link, wow. I really mostly pay attention to Bitcoin and Ethereum because that's the majority of my holdings, just to minimize distractions. But wow, Link at $10.92. That is pretty pretty rough. We have Doge sitting at 12 cents. And wow, this is nothing looking good across the board. XTZ sitting at $2.47. So let's go and check out traditional markets. Let's go ahead and see here. So this is a 5-minute chart here on SPY. So let's go ahead and see today. Hourly chart. So where today is already the 3rd. And so actually, SPY opened up decent today, but has pulled back slightly. So actually, Bitcoin is, from a percentage perspective, doing quite a bit worse than SPY today. So I would honestly anticipate that SPY was doing worse today, but not doing all that bad. So let's take a quick look at marijuana stocks. Marijuana stocks, I wouldn't say flat, but not too much direction in either way. Let's go ahead and take a look here at some tech stocks. We have Twitter sitting at $48.93. We have Uber just under $30. GameStop at $121. And we have Tesla, which is up a little bit at $909. So that's kind of just how things are looking here. Let's kind of just back up to Bitcoin here. You know, what I'm going to be looking for at a point to get into Bitcoin, and it wouldn't be, this is not a scenario where I would be entering and be like, okay, this is a long-term position. I'd probably be looking more at a shorter-term position if I was to get into the market. I would do something more conservative, like put a stop loss. So, and that's if, you know, I'm just seeking out a position that's more short-term versus a long-term hold. So I would be looking, first off, for this green moving average to be crossing over the red. We're very far from that. I think it's going to take a while to happen. I'd probably put about a 6% stop loss on it. And then once it's in the profit, probably doing like a trailing sell order on it. So, you know, it's kind of hard to say where I see Bitcoin going. I have a feeling it's definitely going to be retesting this level, like $32,000, $33,000. I think it's going to kind of drag out, and I would anticipate seeing that like mid to late May is where I would kind of anticipate that. So I'm not anticipating a position that I'm looking to get into anytime soon. For me, I'm staying extremely patient and always taking into consideration that Bitcoin can easily go down to $20,000 or below. You have to be prepared for all scenarios, so really consider that when it comes to your game plan. So like I mentioned, if you want to get started with iTrust Capital today, and think about it like this, you can, you know, start the process of your iTrust Capital account, and also consider the fact that these are amazing prices to be buying Bitcoin at in your iTrust Capital account. And especially if you anticipate it going lower, you can easily dollar cost average your way in. So to get that free $100 in Bitcoin, go to support my channel, check out that link down below. That is all that I have for you today. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.